On this episode of the Whiskey Tornado, we review Hirsch 6-Year Bourbon. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Whiskey Tornado. I'm your host, Lance. Today, we have a very special review for you. It is Hirsch 6-Year. Actually, it's not a 6-year. It's really a 7-year, 9-month bourbon, but Hirsch probably didn't want to apply for a new label, you know, the cost of everything, so they just kept it at Hirsch 6-Year, but it's actually 7 years, 9 months. This is sourced from Willett. It is the same mash bill as the popular Willett Purple tops that go for $500-$600 at the distillery. So you are basically getting Willett Purple top juice in this bourbon for $100. So the question is, does it live up to the Purple top hype? Now the stats on this bottle, the mash bill, 72% corn, 13% rye, and 15% malted barley. The barrel entry proof on this, very interesting, 62.5% on the barrel entry. And the proof when they bottled it came to 138.8. So you're getting almost an 8-year purple top at almost hazmat, which is just insane. For $100 for a bottle. Just absolutely insane. Now, I've had two different barrels of this. I had a barrel at, I think, around 128 proof, one around at 138. Both were fantastic. Fred Minnick did a review of these and absolutely crapped on this bourbon. He hated it. He said it tasted like dirt. The only thing I can figure is that Fred Minnick got a horrible barrel because this stuff is fantastic. It is January 21st as I record this, and just to not spoil the review, but this is already in my Bourbon of the Year running, and we're talking first part of January. For those of you new to the Whiskey Tornado, I'll quickly explain our scoring system. We have 7 categories. The first 2 categories are handicapped. Those handicapped categories are appearance and availability. Then we move into the nose, palate, finish, body, and value. Each category is worth 1 point, 0.5 being average. At the end, we add all those up. Any score of 3 or better is bar worthy. Any score of 4 or better is bunkersome, just in case the bourbon you love is no longer made. All right, with all that being said, let's get into the appearance of Hirsch 6-Year Bourbon. All right, guys, I actually absolutely love this bottle. It's a little bit shorter, a little bit thinner, but the label stands out. Beautiful bottle in my personal opinion. I'm going to give the appearance a 0.7. Moving on to availability, I believe distribution is limited, and we're talking about single barrels. So this particular barrel at 138.8 proof, it's the highest proof I've seen for these Hirsch 6-year single barrels, but the single barrels are available and floating around out there. Still, availability is limited. We're going to give the availability a 0.3. All right, let's get into the good stuff. Let's move on to the nose. Oh, man. It's really, really good, guys. I cannot tell you what Fred Minnick was tasting or smelling when he did his review on this. This is just absolutely gorgeous. It's very unique. It's, if you've ever had Willett pot still and hated it, it has the footprint of Willett pot still, but don't let that scare you away. And by the footprint of Willett pot still, I mean Willett pot still has this like floral note to it, this floral aspect, and that's there. But it's not terrible. It's really, really beautiful. It's like almost honeysuckle mixed with this gorgeous grape, almost cognac note. It almost smells finished. It's so grapey, so floral, so honey forward. The nose I'm just absolutely in love with. Again, you know, we're talking about a different bourbon. This is unique. A lot of bourbons, you have those brown sugar, caramel, peanut notes. This is different than that. This is more floral, grape, honey. But I absolutely love it, and it's such a breath of fresh air to have a bourbon that's a little bit different and not always the same as those brown sugar, caramel notes. Just gorgeous. I'm going to give the nose a 0.8. I could sit here and smell this thing all day long. Oh, so fantastic. 0.8 on the nose. All right, moving on to the palate. Remember, guys, it's 138.8 proof, almost hazmat. Cheers, everybody. Wow. Wow. It is so rich. You have those floral grape aspects to it. If there was a grape flower, this is almost what it would be. So if you don't like floral notes, it might turn you off. I'm not sure. It's got that Willett footprint again, but I am not a fan of Willett pot still. In fact, I really do not like it. I dislike it a lot. This is gorgeous though. This just is a beautiful mix of those bourbon flavors, but with honey, grape, almost like a honeysuckle floral note. Golly, it's gorgeous. It is really nice. Drinks a lot less than 138.8 proof. Drinks lower than that. You'd have to be careful with this stuff. Oh my gosh. So good. It's just gorgeous. I don't even know what to say about it. I'm in love with it. The only knock I would say on the palate is the back end is a little bit drying. If I'm really nitpicking, the flavors I'm so in love with, I would almost give this a 0.9 on the palate. The drying on the back end is the only place I would knock it. So I'm going to bring it down to a 0.8, which a 0.8 is fantastic. You know, I rarely give 0.8s on palates in my reviews, but this is a 0.8. It could even be a 0.9 if it just wasn't so drying, but the proof is so dang high that's probably attributing to some of this. That 7 years, 9 months in the barrel is probably as long as they could have put this. Anymore, it would have got overly tannic, but it's fine where it is. We're going to give the palate a 0.8. All right, on to the finish. God, it's so long. The finish, you know, again, almost 140 proof, 138.8 proof. It's still going. I kind of rate my finishes on how many times I have to swallow after I take a drink, and I'm just swallowing. It just goes and goes and goes. Now, the only knock again is that drying on the back end, but I love the finish on this. It finishes with those floral grape notes. You know, there aren't a lot of layers of flavor necessarily. It's just a big, gigantic punch of floral grape. If that's the only way I can describe it. And the finish just goes and goes. I'm going to give the finish a 0.9. I really love it. This bourbon is just blowing me away. All right, let's talk about the body. The body on this, I don't know how well you guys can see that, but it is dark, it's rich, and you know, it went in again at 125 proof or something, came out at 138. So of course the body is going to be thick and rich and viscous and oily. It is all those things. We're going to give the body a 0.8. All right, guys, moving on to the value. The cost on this bottle was $100. So you're talking about, again, Willett Purple Top at almost 8 years old, at almost hazmat for $100, when Willett Purple Tops at the distillery go for $500 to $600 and even more on secondary. So the value has got to be a 1. It's incredible. You just can't beat it. It's one of my favorite bourbons ever, probably, and definitely we're talking it's January 21st, and this is already in my Bourbon of the Year running. I don't know if anything's going to beat it this year. That's how crazy this is. I'm going to give the value a 1, which brings our overall score to a 4.75, making it absolutely bunker worthy. Just a home run from Hirsch. Now again, Fred Minnick reviewed this and barely could drink it. Said it tasted like dirt, and almost just, he took 2 sips and didn't want any more. So while I sometimes disagree with Fred, we were miles apart on this one, which it just doesn't make any sense how he could hate this bourbon as much as I love it. We're at 2 completely opposite ends of the spectrum, but that's what makes the bourbon community and bourbon whiskey tube so wonderful. You shouldn't take my opinion. You shouldn't take Fred's opinion. If you see this based on a bunch of reviews you watch, hopefully it helps you decide what to buy and what to leave on the shelves. After I saw Fred's review, I honestly wasn't sure if I was going to buy it, but I wanted to review it for you guys, and I'm so glad I ignored him. I'm sure you guys have watched many of my reviews and been like, I'm so glad I ignored Lance, or I'm so glad I listened to Lance. Everybody's palate's different, and everybody is going to draw different experiences from different bourbons. So taste these things for yourself. But for me, this is an absolute home run. It is bunker worthy. I've tasted 2 different barrels of this, and I absolutely loved them. So hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you've had Hirsch 6-year, tell me if I'm crazy or if Fred's crazy. I'd be interested to know. But anytime I see these Hirsch 6-year /7, 9 years, 7 years, 8 years, whatever, I am buying them. They are fantastic, especially for $100 and in my chase for 2022 Bourbon of the Year. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this review, please like, comment, subscribe. If you want to be more involved with the channel, support the channel, be involved in our barrel picks, go to whiskeytornado.com. We have merch, we have Frosted Glens, we have barrel pick information, live streams, YouTube videos, everything you could want, Whiskey Tornado related. Go to whiskeytornado.com and join our bourbon crew. We'd love to have you. I'd love to get to know you. Thanks again, everybody. Stay safe. Cheers. We'll see you on the next episode. Fred, you crazy. You crazy, Fred.